How do you feel about dealing with conflict at work? Share a few ideas on how you can improve in this critical area of leadership. Conflict at work is rarely something that makes leaders feel like, boy, I can't wait for more. Can't wait for tomorrow where I can have more conflict at work. I get that. I've done a lot of coaching over the years and a lot of team development and come to realize that this is one of the areas where leaders oftentimes go from cringing to just uncomfortable. Rarely do leaders actually have an appetite for conflict. But as you move up, this becomes a regular activity in your leadership toolkit, is having productive and healthy conflict. Patrick Lencioni, who wrote 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, has famously said, what's worse than conflict is the absence of conflict. You should be willing to have healthy and productive conflict, but what does that look like? Generally, it's focused on ideas, strategies, visions, processes, methods, techniques, etc. It's not about personality and how people show up. Those are the most difficult types of conversations, right? And those are very tricky. So we start with healthy and productive conflict around that first list. And how do you do that? Well, one, you generally are open to hearing the other person out. Right? Seek to understand the other person, their views. Be open. Be open not only to hearing them out, being patient, but also being open to having your mind changed. I've talked with many leaders who are wanting to be open-minded, but find it difficult when they already have an intuitive sense of what is the right answer and what is the correct direction that we should go in. But they want to have healthy and productive conversations that border on debate and robust argument around ideas. And you can only do that when you're willing to lower your own thoughts about what is the right answer. When you can suspend that feeling that you have and be open to actually seeking an even better answer, which might be some combination of your answer and their answer, then I think you're more likely to get to a great place, not only with your working relationship, but also to the challenge that you're facing. So that's one thought. The other thought is choose the right time and place. Oftentimes conflict conversations derail simply because we're having them at the wrong time. In the book When by Daniel Pink, he talks about certain times of the day for people who are morning people, which many people are better than others. For example, the morning is generally a better time for morning people, between 9 and noon. Right after lunch is usually a good time because we're usually energized again after a lunch break. Bad time, middle of the afternoon, later in the afternoon. Jeff Bezos, when he was still CEO of Amazon, was famous for saying, I don't want to make any decisions in the afternoon because I get grumpy. I get grumpy and impatient. So he wanted to make decisions in the morning. It's also a good time to have conflict conversations where you're disagreeing with someone, and disagreement creates some level of tension. It's just going to do that. So pick the time. As far as a place, maybe a neutral place. I have a client that recently took someone out and actually had a walking meeting out in the neighborhood near to the office to have what was maybe a slightly disagreeable conversation. Getting some fresh air, walking, getting into a neutral place, that helped the conversation to go better. I had another client that took a person out of the office because they didn't want to meet them at their office, which is kind of their power space, and they didn't want the other person feeling intimidated. They wanted it to be a neutral place. I think they went to a hotel lobby near to the office. So consider place. If you are meeting in a meeting room, instead of sitting opposite each other, consider sitting on two sides of the table adjacent to each other. That's usually a better positioning where it's less threatening. So that can make a difference. How you open up the conversation can make a difference. I like to have clients rehearse their opening to a conflict conversation. In the book Fierce Conversations, the author, Susan Scott, takes you through a process on how to prepare for a critical feedback conversation. Highly recommend the book to learn more about her process. When you rehearse your opening and you consider how they might object, and then you consider what you're going to say in response to that objection, plot out the first part of the conversation, you're likely to get off on a better foot. These are all ideas to help you to have better conflict conversations. Then my last idea is have them more often. Don't shy away from them. Actually lean into them and have them more often, because as with public speaking, when we're intimidated, we get better over time. And it's the same with conflict conversations. The more of them we have, the better we become at them, at remaining calm, remaining composed, and being able to speak our mind without getting excited and heated up. So do it more often and follow some of these other ideas. I hope this conversation around conflict has helped you to be more confident about having these kinds of conversations, because believe me, you're being evaluated and rated on your ability to have these types of conversations. And you'll also be just seen as more effective. Believe it or not, the people who work for you want you to have difficult conversations with them. They expect it from their leader. So meet their expectations and find yourself being more of the leader that they are looking for. Videos like these are going to start to be released on a regular basis on this channel. You'll notice that I have many videos on coaching. They are dedicated to executive coaches developing their craft and skills. I will also have this separate track for leaders to help them to be more effective as leaders. So watch the other ones if you like, but know that I'll have a dedicated series for you as a leader coming out each week going forward. Thank you very much. Please like the video, comment on it if you have questions, email me at michael@BAECexecutivecoach.com with questions, comments, or if you'd like to meet about executive coaching and team coaching services for you and your company, or visit the website BAECexecutivecoach.com. Thank you very much.